All right, Peter Badel, mates. Don't know how to describe tonight, mate. Your reaction.
You know, Jay, I've covered all sorts of sports over the last 30 years as a sports journalist, and obviously we love our boxing, and that was a black eye for Australian boxing tonight. That was a disgrace. I'm still pretty empty, like all of us here in the venue. I feel robbed. I feel as robbed as everybody else that was in the venue. We saw a brilliant fight starting to evolve, and I hate to say it, I feel like Michael Zerafa was looking for an exit and he took it, and it's an embarrassment. I don't know why he would do that, because I thought he was winning the fight. In my view, I thought he could have easily been 2 rounds up. It may have been 1-1, but I thought he was landing shots on Nikita. I thought he had him in some uncomfortable moments. I thought Mick was doing everything right in his game plan to win that fight. And what disappoints me is that the moment he got the slightest nick, he then says, "I can't see." Now, he says later that he never said that. He says he had blurred vision. But the minute you say to a fight doctor, "I can't see," you are putting the validity of the bout into dangerous waters. And as soon as he said, "I can't see," my heart on the Fox panel sunk, because I then suspected that there would be a no contest, and that's what eventuated. And it's a shame, because it's ruined what was a great card.
Have you had a chance to, I guess, look at the footage, the audio? I saw Paulie Malignaggi, he was quite animated. What did he actually say?
Oh, he absolutely said, so the audio was played. Mick says he never said, "I can't see." That's bullshit. And I'm a Mick Zerafa fan. I tipped him to win this fight, as you know, Macca. So there's no malice here. I don't have an agenda against Mick Zerafa, but he said, "I can't see." And for him to say that he never said he couldn't see is just a plain lie. That's not true. He may say I had blurred vision, but the audio clearly picked it up. And the moment he said that, it then was always going to create the risk of a no contest. And it was unnecessary. I mean, Sean Porter said it was a con job. It's a pretty strong assessment, probably a fair one. Everyone in the venue I've never seen that level of rage in a boxing arena. That was quite venomous, and there was a bit of toxicity in the air, and it was disappointing. So look, Mick Zerafa says that, I mean, there were bottles being thrown. It was reminiscent of State of Origin in the 80s, when the beer cans rained on Lang Park. Look, Mick Zerafa said later that he's sick of this, that he's thinking of quitting boxing, but chaos always seems to follow Mick Zerafa, and he's trying to play the victim here, but there's no victim. He's the only victim are the fans. They've been robbed tonight, and I think we would have seen an absolute barn burner of a fight. I think it would have gone into the late rounds. I think Nikita probably would have stopped him in the end, but Mick was having some very good moments, and he should be disappointed in himself, because he's robbed himself of a potential career-shaping victory and one of his best. So, and I hope, will we get a rematch? I don't know, but right now, No Limit are entitled to be filthy, and Fox Sports are probably entitled to think Michael Zerafa never fights on our cards again.
Because it's one thing, I mean, if he genuinely couldn't see, but then he changed and said, "I can see," and I just said it was blurry. I mean, that's the sticking point, right?
Yeah, well, I think I also heard Mick say that he was then saying, "Oh, let's go, I'm ready to go," and then I believe, he basically was saying that it was then left to the fight doctor. But the fight doctor, his actions were only predicated on what Mick had said. So the minute Mick said, "I can't see," the fight doctor then says, through a judicial duty, okay, well, the fighter's saying he can't see, I can't overrule the fighter. And as we know, the minute even Tszyu said in the coverage, as a fighter, your instinct is to lie. Your instinct is to say, "I can see," when you might not be able to see. But if you've got that true warrior spirit, as you go out on your shield, as Tszyu says, then you will try and find a way for the bout to go on. And like I said, Macca, I don't understand why Mick wouldn't want that fight to go on, because he, in my eyes, I could be wrong, but he was ahead in that fight, I believe. I think Nikita was starting to verge. I think he was starting the physicality was starting to come to the fore. I think he would have turned the fight, Nikita, but at that moment, Mick Zerafa was with a red hot crack of winning that fight.
Would the public buy a rematch?
It's a good question. Look, my love for boxing and passion for boxing would say yes. My clinical assessment of it, based on what happened tonight, I don't think they would. I don't think the fans would have enough comfort and confidence in Nick Zerafa to uphold his end of the bargain. I don't think Nikita's a loser in this in any way, shape or form tonight. I think Nikita is exempt of all blame, as he should be, because he hasn't done anything wrong. So his reputation shouldn't be sullied. The reputational damage here is on Mick Zerafa. And if he was to say, I'm never going to box again, I think there'd be a lot of Aussie boxing fans right now that would be saying, good riddance, because there's a lot of anger in the room tonight. And look, I'd like to see a rematch. I think we need to have this score settled, but I don't think we're going to get one.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it, mate.
No worries, Mako.